And we can turn our attention to the sides. And just like with a half lap, it's very important that you have the same measurement on both of these guys for the mortises, for the bottom mortise and the top mortise, so that your shelves can be level. If these two mortises are at one height for one shelf, but then a different height for the other shelf, you're effectively giving your side table scoliosis, and it's going to be tilted. And we don't want that. So we're going to be very careful with our measurements here. Now for this one, we don't have to do any math. We're just going to go with the measurements that I came up with for us for this project. And we're going to measure from the bottom, for the bottom mortise, from the bottom I have 4 1/4 inches. And then from the top, I've got 8 inches to the outside part of those two mortises, the bottom of the bottom and then the top of the top. And then I have these other guiding measurements. Now this one in the middle is only going to be what I have here if your sides are exactly the same length as my sides at 20. Actually, I should probably check to make sure that I agree with myself. Yes, 23.5. Your sides are supposed to be 23.5. So let's set one guide to the side, and we'll measure the layout for the bottom mortise here first. And I have that at 4 1/4 inches. So I will set my square, my combo square, to be 5 inches. And I'm going to come here, and what I want is 4 1/4. So if I come over here and I go to 4 1/4 and I put a dot, light dot that I can just barely see. You probably can't even see that on the video. And then come down and make sure that I have the lip of my square firmly against the end. Get the other guy. And I have my first mortise layout. This is 4 1/4 from the bottom and then 4 3/4 because it's a 1/2 inch, and I'm glad that I missed this divot that looks like somebody took an ice cream scoop here. And I'm going to flip it around and do my other other mortise layout here, which is going to be 8 inches from the top. So let's measure down 8 inches, reset my square. At the very end of my square, I'll do 9 inches, and then I'll measure 8 inches down. So we'll go roughly on this guy, 8 inches down, and dot. And then I'll come over here, go 8 inches down. And, oh, don't tilt the square by accident. Keep that lip firmly there. All right, so 8 inches down. And I want this guy to be 1 1/2 inches in, so I'll put my pencil there, make sure that I go 1 1/2 inches in. Oh good, I agree with myself. And we'll come down to that guy, and I've got my first line. And then remember, we want this mortise to be a 1/2 inch thick, or a 1/2 inch deep, however you want to phrase it. So 1/2 inch across, so you come down another 1/2 inch, put a dot, and you can draw our line there, and our 1/2 inch. And good, we stay a 1/2 inch all the way down, and we're going to draw the rest of our rectangle here. And I have my next mortise layout from the top down 8 inches and then a 1/2 inch. And I've done this on one side. Now I'm going to do it on the other side because that will help me check the squareness as I make my cut. And then once I've done that on this one, I'm going to do the same thing on this one, so that when I line them up and I do finger flush on the bottom, I should have two mortises that are side by side here, and I'm going to check with the square going across both of them. So that'll be the next part of the layout. Alright, I've finished the mortise layouts for both of these guys, inside and outside on both of them, as well as the shelf half laps. Now there's something you can do to make sure that you agreed with yourself on each one as well as across of them, and that's using the square. So we're going to take our pencil and set up our square here. Let's make sure that I'm actually, there we go, and set up the square. So this is going to be with the bottom here, and I'm going to put a little mark here with my pencil. Then I'm going to bring that mark across my wood to the other side and put a little mark with my pencil. And then I'm going to see how well this guy lines up on the other side. Here we go. So when I put my pencil there, I bring this here, I can see that I line up pretty well on the other side with the mortise, the same mortise on the other side. So using the square to put a mark, turn the square, put another mark, and then do my check, and then that'll show me how well I agree. If I'm off by a lot, then I need to do some remeasurements. And then the next thing I need to do is check how well each side agrees with the other side. Take our same square and we'll see how well we agree with each other, with ourselves, left, right, sides. So we take this guy and we make, you also have to make sure that your finger flush down here. If that's not flush down there, then this doesn't work. So we make sure that we're flush, and we slide this guy up and we see how well we agree, this guy. And this now appears to be off by, well, basically the width of a pencil. And if we come over to the other side, and again making sure that we're flush, and then we pencil in here, slide over, and this one looks pretty good. I like this. Now that I've set those guys up, the next things to do are to set up the router tables with our 3/4 inch straight bit set to 1/8 depth, and our fence at 7/8 of an inch back, and we should be slicing right along our shoulder line there to make this skinny. And then we're going to make drill holes in each of the mortises, and then go over to the scroll saws and cut off the shoulders there and cut out the waist from the mortises. So that'll be the next steps, is we'll actually get to start cutting now that we've done a lot of layout.